What is going on, Arizona sports fan family? How are we doing out here today on this Tuesday morning, ladies and gentlemen? We are here to talk some Arizona Cardinal football. Just because it's the offseason doesn't mean we stop talking about the Cardinals. What's up, everybody? Appreciate everybody for being here. Big shout out to the people who are in the chat. We got No F's Given, RV Davey. What's going on, everybody? Let's get this show going. We got a lot to talk about today pertaining to the next head coach or, next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. Raw. This is going to be crazy. This is going to be absolutely crazy because as of right now, we got some updates pertaining to Dan Quinn. We got some updates pertaining to Sean Payton. We got some updates pertaining to Demeco Ryans. Now, we didn't end up going live Sunday or Monday at all, which there was some pretty big news coming out of the world of the Arizona Cardinals, which I wasn't able to fill you guys in, but I'm pretty sure you guys were able to get the news, especially if you're following me on my social platforms or any other, Arizona Cardinal pages out there. So let's dive right into this whole crazy situation. Now, before we get started, definitely do me one huge favor. Smack the like button on this video, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe to the Arizona Sports Fan here on YouTube. We're on the road to 12K, and I can't do it without you guys. So definitely subscribe it up and smack that like button. So let's get started here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about the latest information coming out of the world of the Arizona Cardinals, and this is the first thing I want to talk about. Demeco Ryans. Now, I do remember on Friday of last week making a live stream saying this is going to be the eve before we speak to Demeco Ryans, right? That this was what was supposed to happen this weekend for the Arizona Cardinals. Now, I thought it was going to be Saturday, but with reports coming out, it seemed like it was supposed to be Sunday before the 49ers and Cowboys game. But y'all, we kind of went through the loop as Arizona Cardinal fans because now it seems like they didn't even get an interview with Demeco Ryans per this report. Now, this is what the latest report ended up coming up from Jay Glazer, and it says this: 49ers defensive coordinator Demeco Ryans had four head coach interviews lined up yesterday. And this was talking about so the 22nd, today is the 24th. So this is supposed to be for Saturday. This is when it was posted. So yesterday got through one to two. First two, and that's going to be Broncos and Texas. And then they canceled the other two remaining, and that's the Cardinals and the Colts. So he's going to spend the rest of the day working on today's game versus the Cowboys. So that is crazy. So we don't even have a interview scheduled for Demeco Ryans. Now, was it rescheduled? As of right now, we don't have any information, right? All we know right now is Demeco Ryans only ended up interviewing with 2 out of the 4 interviews that he was supposed to do this weekend, and that was the Broncos and the Texans, and then the Colts and the Cardinals just got canceled. Like that just got canceled. It just got canceled. Like, that's weird. Now, like I said a little earlier, is he going to get rescheduled? We'll see, right? We'll see what happens. Now, I know Demeco Ryans is one of those very intriguing defensive coordinators that there's a lot of people would love to bring him in to interview him. Now, maybe he's not going to fit everybody's mold, right? But it seemed like with Demeco Ryans, what he does bring, although he's a defensive mind, he brings a level of, what's the word? Leadership, right? He brings a sense of leadership, and honestly, that's what everybody wanted, right? Or at least that's what a head coach is supposed to have: leadership skills, being a leader of men. And Demeco Ryans, per Ian Rappaport, fits that mold. So it's really unfortunate that Demeco Ryans didn't even give us an opportunity. Instead, he just said deuces, right? He just canceled the interview over the weekend. So that's what's happening with Demeco Ryans. Now let's move on over to the Sean Payton situation here. Now, we did get a report here from Howard Balzer, and it says this, or Balzer, sorry. More breaking news. Source told me Denver's interview delayed with Payton's interview. Oh, yeah, so basically the breaking news was that the fact that the Arizona Cardinals are going to be meeting with Sean Payton. Yep, that's right. This Thursday, the interview for Sean Payton is supposed to be this Thursday for the Arizona Cardinals. So if you're excited, right, if you're still one of those fans that are really, really wanting to hold on to that Sean Payton dream, we're going to meet with them. We're going to meet with them this coming Thursday. So that's pretty exciting on its own right there. So we'll see how that goes. Now, is it going to be one of those things where we're going to get him just because we're going to interview him? I don't know, right? That the Saints right now are in a very, very stingy mode, right? They're in a very, very stingy mode, and they're trying to ask everything they possibly can to get compensation back for Sean Payton. Now, are there teams going to be willing to give up that compensation? At least as of right now, there is teams interested, whether it's the Panthers, right, the Broncos, the Texans also interviewed him, and now the Cardinals this coming Thursday. So I think that Sean Payton maybe thought there was going to be a lot more intrigue for his services, but this is kind of where it is, at least as of right now. What's up, Michael? Appreciate the contribution. He says, thank you, brother, for the podcast. Absolutely. Thank you so very much for being here. All you guys. Thank you. All right, let's move on over to the next topic that I want to talk about, and that is Dan Quinn, ladies and gentlemen. We did get an update from Dan Quinn, and this is the most recent one, right? So Demeco Ryans was over the weekend. We ended up getting the Sean Payton news over the weekend as well on Sunday for his interview on Thursday. Now, for Dan Quinn, we interviewed him. I believe it was a virtual interview. It was either Thursday or Friday of last week, but now we're flying Dan Quinn in today. That's right. That's right. I said it. We're flying Dan Quinn in today for a second interview for the Arizona Cardinals head coaching position. Like, what is going on? Now this is a intriguing, right, opportunity for the Arizona Cardinals. Now, Dan Quinn does have a defensive mind. That's what he really might, coaches more than anything. But this right here is really intriguing. Now, if you look at the bottom part of this report, it says Quinn also is a top candidate for the Broncos and the Colts, who want to bring him in later this week. First big domino falling soon? Question mark. So Dan Quinn is really, really intriguing a lot of people. He's intriguing a lot of people within the NFL. Now, is the Arizona Cardinals going to be able to snag him, right? Now, I know there is some subscribers that don't want Dan Quinn right now. That's obviously up to you guys and your opinions and how you're feeling about Dan Quinn. But this seems to be a real big possibility here for the Arizona Cardinals, being that he's getting flown in today, ladies and gentlemen. Hear me well. He's getting flown in today for a second interview with the Arizona Cardinals. So I would have never thought. I would have never thought that Dan Quinn was going to be one of the top three, one of the top four, finalists for the Arizona Cardinals. But here we are, right? Here we are. Now, we do got some new people coming in here, and I appreciate you guys for coming through. Let's just do a real quick recap of what we talked about. Demeco Ryans, we had an interview with him this coming or this last weekend. He ended up canceling on us. So as of right now, there has not been any updates pertaining to when we're rescheduling with Demeco Ryans. All we know is that it's canceled and we didn't get an opportunity to meet with him. Sean Payton, we do have a scheduled interview with him on Thursday. Now, is that going to prevent Dan Quinn from becoming the next head coach because we're waiting on Thursday? Possibly, right? Or we might just not get to Sean Payton, especially if Dan Quinn, surprises a lot of people, right? So there's that. So that's the update on Sean Payton. That's this Thursday. Now, Dan Quinn is scheduled to meet with the Arizona Cardinals today for his second interview. Second interview. That's right. And he's getting flown in. He's getting flown in. Now, if you guys are not fully aware, over the weekend, we had some divisional games. The Cowboys were one of the teams that didn't end up making the cut, and they ended up getting beat by a Brock Purdy and defensive, minded 49ers team over there. So it leaves Dan Quinn more available for him to go on ahead and, do these interviews, right? Because if you're looking for like a Demeco Ryans, yes, he is still available, but also on the other side of the coin, you might see one of those situations where his mind is just focusing on the next round, right? Like that's probably what we kind of sucks for the Arizona Cardinal fans, right? That we're kind of waiting for what happens with these teams in order for them to really kind of get into it. So those are the latest updates we have for the Arizona Cardinals. Demeco Ryans canceled on us. Sean Payton is going to be this Thursday, and then Dan Quinn is set to interview for the Arizona Cardinals later on today for a second interview. So that's what you need to know for the Arizona Cardinals, at least as of right now. Now, I have been doing my best and my due diligence here to see if we're able to get any news for the Arizona Cardinals, right? To see if there's anybody else we're trying to bring in. What I'm noticing right now, and at one point I was not very intrigued with this route for the Arizona Cardinals, but it seems like the Arizona Cardinals are thinking defensive side. Now, would I have rather them bring some offensive minded coaches in? Oh, heck yeah, of course, right? I would love nothing but that. But it seems like the Arizona Cardinals are really leaning heavy towards a defensive minded head coach. Now, whoever they decide to bring in, right, we're going to give them the opportunity. We're going to give them the, the reins to this organization and see what they can do for us, right? I guess that's the most important part here. Now, although we might not bring an offensive mind other than Frank Reich or Sean Payton, because those seems to be the only offensive mind head coaches here for the Arizona Cardinals that we have any intrigue in. Because I'm not going to lie to you, I wouldn't say depressed. I was really shocked that the Arizona Cardinals had no interest no intrigue in a Shane Steichen. I felt like that would be a really cool opportunity to bring him in, because obviously the Philadelphia Eagles right now, they're flying high. They destroyed the New York Giants over the weekend. So bringing in a Shane Steichen, I think that would be really cool to kind of see another side of the coin, right? Giving an offensive coordinator the opportunity to become that head coach, right? So he can build his staff, right? Defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, that type of stuff. So I'm shocked, right? Yeah, I'm absolutely shocked. But honestly, whoever does come in, all I can hope and pray is that they have leadership skills up the yin yang. Like that's all I care about, right? And a head coach is going to be able to bring in a different culture, a different mindset, a different leadership style than what we've had. Because although a lot of people did like Cliff Kingsbury as a person, I think it was very obvious to know that, like, things went upside down really quick for this Cardinals organization, and it really went down real quick, like real fast. So it was very obvious, right? It was very obvious. So we'll see. Right now, I feel like this is the latest that we've gone through without knowing who our next head coach is going to be. This is the latest. Now, Steve Wilks' hire date was. Let's take a look here. Steve Wilks' hire date, I know it was in either the 20s or the teens. Okay, I got it right here. So Steve Wilks was hired on January the 22nd of January, right? January the 22nd is when Steve Wilks was hired. Now, if we take a look at Cliff Kingsbury, Cliff Kingsbury was hired on, I know that one was the teens, if I'm not mistaken here. Let's see here. Yes, January the 8th. I'm sorry, that's even sooner. So Cliff Kingsbury was January the 8th. He was one of the first coaches to come in and say, hey, this is your keys to the palace. You got this going. But Steve Wilks was hired on the 22nd. So right now we're sitting in the 24th, and we still don't have our head coach. Like that's wild, right? Like that's absolutely wild to see what is going to happen with this Arizona Cardinal team. Right now, if you're going to ask me who has the leg up, I don't want to admit it, but I think Dan Quinn has a fair shot here, right? At one point, people thought, Demeco Ryans had a fair shot. Dan Quinn's coming in for a second interview, y'all. Whether you want to admit it or not, this man has a second interview, and he spent a good majority of being a head coach with the Atlanta Falcons. Now, we know that, right? He actually took the Atlanta Falcons to the Super Bowl. Now, granted, yes, it was a Kyle Shanahan-led offense, and it was an actual really good offense for Dan Quinn, but Dan Quinn took his team to the Super Bowl. Now, it didn't come out, right? It didn't turn out the way he would want it and love for it to turn out, because we all know what happened, right? With Tom Brady coming back in an absolute crazy fashion. But Dan Quinn has a lot of experience within the head coaching role. So I know also Brian Flores, we're going to be meeting with him sometime this week as well. That's a name that a lot of people kind of want to throw in there as well. But honestly, I think Brian Flores is getting a lot of steam because of his relationship. And I mean a relationship being that he is has some sort of relationship with Monty Ossenfort. I think that's really the only reason why people are trying to link Brian Flores over to the Arizona Cardinals. But I don't think it can be, right? I mean, we might be shocked, right? I know we're going to be meeting with Brian Flores sometime this week. So it's just a lot of unknown right now, is what I'm trying to say. What's up, AZ Fan 99? What's up, brother? He says, this coaching search is interesting. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we hired, Cliff Kingsbury on January the 8th. We hired Steve Wilkes. I believe it was the 18th last time I looked. And I think we just looked too. So I don't know how I'm forgetting this. Let's see, Steve Wilkes. Hire date Cardinals. Yeah, so the 22nd. Yeah, so they hired him on the 22nd. So right now we're 2 days away from a head coach being brought in, right? But it seems like this whole stones unturned is exactly what's happening with the Arizona Cardinals. That's exactly what they're doing, right? Monty Osenfor really wants to make sure he brings in the best person he can to take this Arizona Cardinal team to the next level. But Sean Payton is scheduled to come in on Thursday. So maybe we might get our head coach this coming Friday, right? Maybe we might get breaking news this coming Friday saying that the Arizona Cardinals are, hiring this man, right? Maybe we'll see. But I agree with you that this whole waiting is a little nerve-wracking, right? Because it can go any which way. And I know there's a lot of people out there that are a little nervous too, right? There's a lot of people out there that are nervous in the thought of maybe bringing in somebody that they don't want. All I'm going to say right now is whoever we bring in, I'm going to welcome in open arms, and I'm going to see very, very closely how they're going to change the culture, change the organization. So I'm excited about that, right? A new era of the Arizona Cardinals. That's one thing I'm very excited about. So let's see here. Let's take a look here with the comments. Let's see. Yeah, well, we got a lot of interviews coming this week. That's going to be very exciting. We got Mikey saying Frank Reich was the Cardinals receivers coach in 2012. Well, honestly, Frank Reich to me was very intriguing because that was the same day that Monty Osenfort was announced, right? That was the same day that Monty Osenfort was announced. Now, nobody called Frank Reich. Nobody called it, right? I'm talking about sources. Nobody told the Arizona Cardinal fans that this was an intriguing or a possibility that we're going to interview him, right? Like that was a under the radar thing that happened for Arizona Cardinal fans. But honestly, like now that we're thinking about it, it's like it almost kind of seems like, okay, I mean, that could make sense, right? Offensive minded coach, right? He didn't really get a fair shot in the Indianapolis Colts. Had a lot of, unknown with the quarterback situation. So it might be a good spot. We don't know. What's up, brother? Thanks for the contribution. He says, I say Sean Payton or Dan Quinn for our head coach. Yeah, I mean, honestly, Dan Quinn, before, I think last week, I was a little like, right? The biggest thing that I'm worried about Dan Quinn, and the first thing that a lot of people think about is the whole Super Bowl debacle that ended up happening, right? Like that's what's the first thing that comes to my mind, right? When we think of Dan Quinn. But like if he's really getting a lot of intrigue, and obviously Sean Payton, I think that's number one for everybody, right? Everybody's number one coach, whether you want to admit it or not, is Sean Payton. Now, Sean Payton is going to be very, very expensive. And I mean very, very expensive. So if we don't go that route, then we know why, right? But Dan Quinn has been impressing a lot of teams like the Broncos or the Colts. So it's very intriguing to see how this is going to shake out, right? Very intriguing to see how this is going to shake out, especially with so much intrigue around Dan Quinn, because we got a second interview with him. Heck, we might even hear something coming up here pretty soon, right? Maybe we might be getting breaking news later on. So we'll see, right? We'll see. Now, there's one other thing that I want to go ahead and, show you guys, which was something that I saw here in the Twitter world that I want to kind of put in your guys' lap to see what you guys are thinking about this. 1 second here. Let me see if I can find it again. I should have got this uploaded, and I thought I did. Basically, it was talking about... Where'd it go? It's talking about basically Sean Payton not getting as much intrigue as he thought he was going to get. So he might find his way back into the media. That's exactly what it was. So I'm curious to figure out oh, here it is. I think I found it. Here it is. Okay. Now, this is from Benjamin Albright. Now, if you don't know him, I think he's got very, very close ties with the Denver Broncos. So he's got very, very close ties with the Denver Broncos. Now, do we trust him with anything else? I don't know, right? I don't really know him personally, but it seems to be like very, very close with the Denver Broncos. And this is going to give us something to kind of, talk about here, right? Now, this is what the report came out from Benjamin Albright. Now, it seems like it's really based off of opinion, but check this out. From everything I've heard, it doesn't appear Sean Payton has much of a market. Jobs he wanted didn't open. And I think what he means by didn't open was any LA teams or the Cowboys. So let's continue. And outside of Denver, we'll see about AZ. There just hasn't been much interest. Strong possibility he goes back to TV. So this is interesting, right? We might see Sean Payton not take a head coaching job at all, right? We might see that. Now, is that because the Saints are asking for too darn much? Oh, heck yeah. The Saints are asking for too much. We're seeing a very, 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 very stingy Saints team that is wanting to get 2 first-round picks, and on top of that, more mid-round picks as well. Now, I get where they're coming from, right? Like, they have the leverage, but if you have a head coach in place right now and you have somebody under contract and he doesn't want to be within your organization, you would think that you would do him a favor and let him go. But I get the Saints side of it all, right? Like, I understand it. Like, if he was our coach, like if we had Bruce Arians, we probably would do the same thing, right? Oh, if you want him, you're going to give us a first round pick, right? We probably would have done the same thing. So I don't blame the Saints for doing it, but literally, I think the Saints are really doing bad for Sean Payton because, with this report coming out, or I guess more of an opinion-based report, basically saying that he doesn't think that outside of Denver and Arizona, the Panthers, which I was a little worried about because I did hear a report saying that the owner over there really would do anything in his power to bring in a Sean Payton for his Panthers team. It didn't seem like it really shook out that way, but Denver and Arizona, and it says we'll see, right? But it's led to believe that he really doesn't have as big of a market, right? He doesn't have as big of a market right now for anything pertaining to what's going on. So, what's up, Jonathan? He says, any updates on D-Hop? Yes, there is updates on D-Hop. We were told that this coming week, either this week or next week, Monty Ossenfort is going to be meeting with DeAndre Hopkins. And I guess we'll find out there, right? So if he truly is going to get traded, maybe he's going to meet with D-Hop because of the situation of, hey, like, this is our plan. Are you with us? Are you not with us? What do you want? Like that type of stuff. So we are going to be hopefully getting that information here pretty soon. Fingers crossed. I think Monty Ossenfort is going to be meeting him sometime this week or next week. And they're going to kind of talk about, what's the future with DeAndre Hopkins. So that's the latest report or information from DeAndre Hopkins, that the noise was getting really loud, right? The noise was getting really loud about him getting traded away. So at least as of right now, he is set to meet with Monty, and I'm assuming with Michael Bidwell as well. So we'll see, right? We'll see. Yeah, I think the Saints might fluke this one up for them. Honestly, I think they definitely might, ruin this opportunity for themselves here, because what they're asking for is just way too darn much. Like, we first heard a first round pick, and then a first round pick, and then more, right? And I mean, maybe like some mid-round picks. And now the latest report saying the Saints want 2 first-round picks. And not only that, some mid-round picks. And not only that, the Arizona Cardinals would have to pay Sean Payton like $20 to $25 million per year if they wanted to get him. Now, that doesn't affect us as fans, right? Like, as Cardinal fans, we're not paying Sean Payton $20 to $25 million. But if you really think about it, yes, that doesn't go to the cap, right? I think everybody's aware of that. That number that you pay Sean Payton or head coaches, that doesn't go towards the cap. And I think everybody's aware of it. But if that's coming out of the pocket of Michael Bidwell, think about how not very spectacular our free agents are going to be, our free agencies are going to be. Because whether you want to admit it or not, yes, it doesn't affect the cap, but I doubt Michael Bidwell is going to be wanting to shell away 25 to 25 million and then bring in top free agents. Now, if he truly wants to win, he would do it. But I mean, we've seen history from the Bidwell family not doing that. But I mean, Sean Payton would be huge, right? It would be a very, very huge thing to happen if that were to happen. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. So just to go ahead and update, we got a lot more people coming in here. Demeco Ryans seems to be maybe not happening anymore. We had an interview set up with him this last weekend and he canceled it. Demeco Ryans canceled the interview with the Arizona Cardinals and continued the interview with the Broncos and the Texans. But for the Colts and the Cardinals, they were canceled due to him wanting to work on the game versus the Cowboys. So we didn't get a chance to actually meet with Demeco Ryans. Now, is that going to get updated? We'll see, right? TBD at this very moment. Sean Payton is going to be meeting with us later on this week, which the date is that I was told was Thursday, is what we're aware of. And then Dan Quinn is set to have his second interview with the Arizona Cardinals today. And he does got some intrigue with some other teams as well, with the Broncos and the Colts, per this Tom Pelissero report. So we'll see, right? A lot of up in the air right now, y'all. A lot of up in the air. I was, kind of estimating that we would be getting our coach sometime this coming week, is what I was estimating at. Now, we might be surprised. You never know. You never know. We might be surprised. It might come out today, right? It might come out tomorrow. It might come out Thursday. It might come out Friday. So as of right now, we're just going to kind of wait and see how this shakes out. All I know right now is that we are interviewing and trying to leave no stones unturned. Like, that's what the biggest thing out there is right now. No stones unturned. It seems like what is happening here for the Arizona Cardinals. So we might have to wait another, maybe. Dan Quinn, it seems to be the second interview that I'm aware of, unless there is another second interview that we weren't told or privy to that information. But Dan Quinn, to me, is the second interview. Now, granted, the first interview was a virtual interview, so I'm not sure if that has, into play. But being that he's got a second interview for the Arizona Cardinals is a little intriguing. It's a little intriguing to say, hey, maybe we might, right? We might know it. So we'll see. I see you there, Marco. I mean, that's interesting. I don't know, right? I don't know. If that's the case, right? Dan Quinn has had experience. Dan Quinn's had experience within the Atlanta Falcons, right? He's had experience as a defensive coordinator for the not the 49ers, the Seahawks, the Cowboys, and he's been staying very busy. So to me, I think it's kind of up in the air right now for Cardinal fans. It's kind of up in the air. I know there's a lot of people out there that are really trying to pinpoint, like, oh my God, Brian Flores is your guy, ladies and gentlemen, because A, B, and C. But honestly, I think people are just trying to give their best guess out there. Like, literally, we're throwing a Hail Mary out and saying, this is my best guess, right? And if their best guess works out, then hey, they look smart. You know what I mean? And if the guess doesn't look, or if the guess doesn't turn out, people start losing a little confidence of the things that you're saying. And to me, right now, if you're going to ask me who I think the next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals is up in the air. It is. Like, it can be anybody. Like, truly. Like, Sean Payton, I want to hold on hope for Sean Payton. I still am holding on to hope for Sean Payton, but I do know darn well that guy is going to be asking for a lot of money, and the Saints are going to ask for a lot of draft capital, which I am not willing to give up. And I don't know why Saints fans come onto this channel and be like, you better give up that third overall pick. You are drunk off your mind if you think we're going to give up our third overall pick for Sean Payton. That's not going to happen. So squash it now. It's not going to happen. Now, first round pick for 2024, I mean, that's up in the air right now, right? But we're not giving away our third overall pick for a coach. We're not doing it. We're just not. We're probably going to risk maybe a Dan Quinn. We're probably going to risk maybe a Brian Flores, something like that. But there's no way in heck we're going to be giving that draft capital up, especially if we can get a Jalen Carter or we can get a Will Anderson. Or if they go number 1 and number 2, we can trade back for the most needy quarterback team. So, like, it's literally in our hands right now as Cardinal fans. Like, Cardinal fans, we got a pretty cool offseason coming our way. Or actually, we are in this pretty cool offseason right now. So we're seeing a lot of different names being floated around right now. So we'll see. We'll see. Whoever the next head coach, yeah, exactly. No, I agree with you. A lot of people want Sean Payton. A lot of people want Sean Payton. And it's obvious. Like, the most loud people, right, that come out and say, I don't want Sean Payton. I could almost promise you we have at least 2 to 3 other people that are like, yeah, to that one person saying, no, I don't want Sean Payton, you have 3 to 4 other people saying, yes, I want Sean Payton. Like, Yeah, it's a big deal. It truly is. So I know there's a lot of people holding hope to the Sean Payton, which I'm still keeping alive. Like truly, like I want Sean Payton still. There's nothing in my mind right now that I'm like, oh no, he's gone. If the Saints, right, are willing to be, you know, if they're willing to work, I think the Cardinals are willing to work with them. But there's not a way in hell we're going to give up our third overall pick. It's not happening. So if they're willing to work with the Cardinals, I think it can happen. Truly. Because looking at these reports right now, we're seeing some conflicting things out there, right? We're seeing Benjamin Albright saying something like this, right? So from everything I heard, it doesn't appear Sean Payton has much of a market. Jobs he didn't want, jobs he wanted didn't open. And outside Denver, and we'll see about AZ, there hasn't been much interest. Strong possibility he might be going back to the media. So like we're seeing things like that. So maybe the leverage for the Saints, once they realize that they're asking for too much, it might work out for the favor of the Arizona Cardinals, right? Because so far right now, what we know is that the Panthers already met with Sean Payton. We know the Texans already met with them, and then we know the Denver Broncos already met with them. So who's the best out of those four? Like, right? Like if you think about it, I was worried about the Panthers. Like I truly was worried about the Panthers. I think the Cardinals would be the best spot, but like what they're willing or what they want us to give is just, it's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. Let's see here. Um, we need to go. Oh yeah, well that's the truth. No, for sure. I mean, we have a lot of pieces, right? We have a lot of holes within this organization. That's facts. There's nobody here, I don't think, in the chat saying that we don't need to fix our offensive line. We got a lot of question marks going into this free agency and the draft, right? And here's the funny thing: we talked about it this last offseason. What we needed last year is exactly what we need this year: cornerback, edge. Although some people are like, oh, we got some really young talent, right? We got some potential people. I still think we need edge. We need interior defensive linemen. And then cornerback. It's still the same needs that we needed before. Like nothing has changed. So it's kind of one of those situations where it's like we really didn't do very much this last offseason. And it kind of makes sense on why we were only a 4-win team, because we're just bad. We weren't very good. So we'll see, right? We'll see. Demeco, somebody said Demeco to the Texans. Maybe, right? Maybe. I mean, per this report, he did meet with the Broncos and the Texans. So, I mean, that's already a huge win for the Broncos and the Texans. It sucks for the Cardinals and the Colts. Now, there's led to believe that the Colts might hire their interim head coach they have now. So the Colts might already have their head coach. Now, the Cardinals, on the other hand, we have a we don't know, right? We don't know what the Arizona Cardinals are going to do. We're only guessing. We're only giving their best guess out there, right? And Brian Flores has only really been out there because people sold you on Brian Flores, right? Accountability, right? He's got the relationship with Monty Osenfor. It's a no-brainer. I don't think it's much of a no-brainer, truly, because if that was the case, we wouldn't be bringing in Sean Payton on Thursday, right? We wouldn't have a second interview with Dan Quinn today. I think this is still up in the air, truly. DMNK with the contribution. What's up, brother? Appreciate the contribution. He says Payton for D-Hop. I don't know if D-Hop wants to go to the Saints. And I think that's one of the biggest things that we've kind of talked about in this offseason talk that we've been talking about, right? That the fact that DeAndre Hopkins has full leverage, at least in my opinion. I know a lot of people have different opinions with DeAndre Hopkins and how he's going to, be handled. But to me, DeAndre Hopkins is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. If he wants to go somewhere, he's going to have to uplift his no trade clause, because right now the Arizona Cardinals don't have any type of, you're going here because this is what we want. He's got a no trade clause. So that means it's up to him and where he wants to go. Now, can he sit out? Yeah, absolutely. But I don't want to be the team that makes a superstar wide receiver sit out because we're ignoring his needs, right? We're ignoring his needs and wants. And the reason why I say that is because I don't want to be that destination for other players to look at, to be like, hey, they don't really seem to be on the best interest of their players. I don't want to go there. It's already obvious that the Arizona Cardinals isn't a prime destination for big top free agents to come to, right? Or at least in my opinion. That's what we need to change. We need to change that culture. We need to change that narrative. So if DeAndre Hopkins wants to go to the Saints, I think this could be a possibility. But I don't think the Saints are just going to be like, okay, cool, like easy trade. I doubt that. Um, I think if DeAndre Hopkins were to want to go, it's going to be either with a young quarterback, right, that's on his rookie deal that has very much promise and potential, or a contending team. And I don't think the Saints are either of those two. You know what I mean? I don't think the Saints are either of those two. They don't have a young quarterback that's up and coming, right? Or they don't have, they're not contenders. Like, they're weird. Like, they're literally in the weirdest spot. The Saints are in the weirdest spot. They don't have their franchise quarterback, and they're unknown. Now, Cardinals, at least we have our franchise quarterback. Yes, we just went through a debacle, and I know that right now there's a lot of people are not saying that Kyler is not the franchise. We'll find out, right? This coming year, if he does the same thing and he just keeps regressing, then we know moving forward that it's probably not going to work out for Kyler. Let's see. AZ fan, what's up, brother? He says, I think Vance is done for the race as our head. Oh, yeah. Oh, I think so too. I think so too. I think we wanted to do our due diligence. I think we wanted to do our due diligence for Vance Joseph, which I'm cool with, right? Like, honestly, at the end of the day, I mean, it is what it is, right? Like, he wanted to go for the head coaching job. We interviewed him. So I think the Arizona Cardinals definitely did him a solid for doing that. But I agree with you 100% that I don't think that Vance Joseph is going to get the head coaching job. So whoever is worried about Vance Joseph getting the head coaching job, I don't think that's a real possibility. To me right now, and literally it changes every single day. Maybe every single week this changes. And I kid you not, this changes so often because different news keeps popping up. Who can be our next head coach? Right now, if I give you my top three, and I promise you it might change in 2 or 3 days, but Dan Quinn seems like a real possibility. He's coming in for a second interview. Go figure. Sean Payton, I'm always going to keep him in there because he's my number one and all be all. And then number three would probably be, man, we just, I like the idea of Frank Reich, but like we just haven't heard anything else from Frank Reich after that first interview. So if I were to say, I'd say Dan Quinn, Sean Payton, and maybe we can kind of throw Brian Flores' name in there, right? Just because of the relationship. But like things change so darn fast. Like it changes so darn fast. So we'll see. What's up, brother? He says D-Hop will stay if we get Payne. That's true. That's true. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Imagine it. Yeah, exactly. You want to kill two birds with one stone? That's what you have to do, right? You bring Sean Payton in here. Oh, I agree with this wholeheartedly. Oh yeah, for sure. You bring Sean Payton in here, definitely. But I promise you, if we do get a new head coach and DeAndre Hopkins still wants to go, we know darn well that he probably doesn't want that head coach or he doesn't believe in what's happening, right, for the future. So I agree. If we get Payton here, I don't think DeAndre Hopkins leaves. I don't think he leaves either. I agree with you. I agree. Here's the thing. I think we're meeting with Brian Flores this week, and that's the thing. Like, I would have put Demeco Ryans over Flores before, but like we still haven't even interviewed Demeco Ryans. Like, that's how bad it is right now. We still haven't even interviewed him. So the big thing that a lot of people are holding on to in terms of Brian Flores, and a lot of the sporting bets are out there saying that Brian Flores is going to be the next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. They're saying that because of the link, right? They're saying that because of the link between Brian Flores and Monty Ossenfort in their time they had with the Patriots. But that's what they're leaning their hope onto. Like, that's what they're leaning their hope onto. What's up, Alex? What's up, bro? Appreciate the $5 contribution. He says this would be down for Dan Quinn. He's had the Cowboys defense in the top 5 the last 2 years, and we desperately need a better defense. Yes, this is true. This is true. And what better way, right? What better way to get a defensive-minded coach? Now, I get it. Last week, my mind was like, offense. But, like, if you think about it, and I kind of admit it to my mistake, if you get somebody that brings in a completely different culture, if you get somebody that actually has leadership skills and that holds people accountable, defense and offensive minded head coach is irrelevant. It truly is. It's are they the guy that's going to be the leader of men? That's what it's most important. Key number one, cherry on top of the ice cream. That's what we're looking for. A guy that's going to be leader of men. So I know I was so hung up last week on I want an offensive minded head coach, but now that I really stepped back and really thought about it, as long as they have the skills to be a culture changing individual, culture changing organization type of, guy, right? Someone that's going to be able to be a leader, man, that's what I'm looking for. I can care less if you're a offensive minded or a defensive minded. The one thing I'll also say is that if we do bring a defensive minded head coach or an offensive minded head coach, we better be bringing an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator to help out our head coach. That's something I hope the Arizona Cardinals learn. I hope we learn from what we did with Cliff, because the head coaching job, especially with somebody that has never done it in the NFL, it's way too much. It's way, 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 way too much. So if we get either a defensive minded head coach, which that's what it's leaning towards, or an offensive minded head coach, I still want to get an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator to help out distribute the duties. So either A, they're the ones doing the play call, and then they can kind of, do the play management, talk to any people they need to talk to on the sideline. So they're not completely having to be sucked into the game, which obviously is important, but we need somebody to be that leader of men. Is really what I'm looking for as an Arizona Cardinal fan. So I had to step back. I truly had to step back because honestly, I don't think it's very, it doesn't have to be an offensive minded coach. It doesn't. It just needs to be someone that's going to be willing to change the culture. That's what we're here for. So, we got somebody saying I'm all in for Dan Quinn. Also, well, honestly, Dan Quinn, and I get it. Trust me, ladies and gentlemen, 152 people in here right now. Trust me, we're gonna get people saying, "Oh my God, that's an L," right? Regardless, if we hire Brian Flores, if we hire Dan Quinn, if you hire Sean Payton, if you hire anybody else, someone is gonna say this is an L, right? Here's what it is. Michael Bidwill made one of the toughest decisions out there. He fired Cliff Kingsbury after giving him an extension, and then Steve Keim went away on a leave, right? Leave. So he did what we wanted, right? So let's allow Monty Ossenfort and Michael Bidwill to really kind of see what we can do to fix it. Because this is the first time that we've seen a Michael Bidwill led, rebuild without Steve Keim chirping in his ear. So let's see. Let's see how it goes. I'm excited. I'm very excited. Either offensive minded or defensive minded. I think it's very irrelevant. But can Dan Quinn be the next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals? Possibly, right? I think it's all kind of open and to see like what happens in this interview, because he's the only one right now that has a second interview with the Arizona Cardinals. The only one that has a second interview with the Arizona Cardinals. Sean Payton is set to meet with us on Thursday. Demeco Ryans seems like an afterthought now. I don't think Demeco Ryans, if he does get rescheduled, then cool. But if I were to give my best estimate, and this is coming from last week, I would have said that this is supposed to be the week we're supposed to know our head coach right here, this week. If not today, tomorrow, Thursday, or Friday, it could bleed into next week, but this is what I estimated the week that we're going to know our head coach. Last week when we got Monty Ossenfort, I also kind of predicted that, like, we need to get our GM quick. And then breaking news happened, we got Monty Ossenfort, right? So if I were to give my best estimate, this is the week that we're going to be getting our head coach. Now, it doesn't need to happen, right? We can still kind of, wait till after the conference championships, which can be a real possibility for Arizona Cardinal fans. But, I mean, we'll have to kind of wait and see right now. We got a lot of people now on the Dan Quinn train. Okay. A lot of people seem to be on the Dan Quinn train right now. Now, let me make a poll question for you guys real quick. I'm not going to be putting Sean Payton's name in there, because I feel like Sean Payton would be the clear candidate, right? I feel like it would be the clear win right there. Or actually, no, let's do that. Let's put that. Okay, so I'm going to be putting some names in here right now. All right. So my question to you guys is Dan Quinn, Sean Payton, or Brian Flores. I'm going to ask you guys right now, or I'm also going to put other. And if you want to put other on the chat, that's completely fine. The poll has been listed here in the chat below, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead and cast your vote. And I'm curious right now. Right now, we're sitting in January the 24th, and I'm curious to figure out how you guys are feeling pertaining to all these different names that we're seeing, right? We got 16 votes so far. 50% right now are saying Sean Payton. So Sean Payton seems to be the clear winner. If you don't want Sean Payton, make sure you cast your vote here in the chat, which is going to be on YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook, sorry, but this is specifically for a YouTube type of thing. So, okay. So 37 votes right now, and Sean Payton right now is the clear winner, but we do have Dan Quinn coming right in. So we also have an other coming up. Okay. I see you. We have somebody saying all in on Dan Quinn. All right. Let's allow this to go. We got 44 votes, and I'm only assuming we're going to go ahead and continue to get a lot more coming through. So we'll let that kind of fester and get to the level where we're going to get to. So let's move on over topics. Let's talk about Sean Payton here a little bit, right? We talked a little bit about him earlier in the stream, but now that we have more people coming in, let's continue this conversation with Sean Payton. Now, who believes in this narrative here, right here? Who believes in this narrative from Sean Payton? Do you guys truly feel like Sean Payton has not gotten as big of a market as he thought he would have? Right? Because per Benjamin Albright, now this is a report, but also it seems like an opinion based in what he's been hearing. So this is what it says. From everything I've heard, it doesn't appear Sean Payton has much of a market. Jobs he wanted didn't open. And outside the Denver, we'll see about AZ. There just hasn't been much interest. Strong possibility he goes back to TV. So per this, and what his opinion is, he thinks that this could be a real possibility that Sean Payton doesn't come back, right, to coaching. Now, if the Saints don't move off of Sean Payton, let's say we live in a world where he doesn't, that hurts the Saints' value, right? Because Sean Payton has 2 more years in his contract left. If he rides out one other one, I don't know how, but I'm only assuming the Saints are losing value here somehow, right? Their leverage is going away. So this whole 2 first-round picks, I honestly don't think they're going to get it. I truly don't. What's up, AZ fan? He says, I think we've interviewed Flores already yesterday. Oh, is that the case? Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Thank you. Appreciate that. So if you guys don't know, I was completely out of the loop. I ended up going to Mexico yesterday. I ended up having to get my teeth done. So I was been dealing with a tooth issue for quite some time, for like the past month and a half. So that's the reason why I don't really know too much, and I'm trying to catch up as much as I possibly can, because I ended up going to Mexico yesterday to get some dental work done. So I ended up coming back around like 6 p.m. yesterday, and of course there was a lot of news that kind of came out. So I appreciate you. Thanks for keeping me in the loop, AZ. What's up, Alex? Another $5 donation. What's up, brother? He says, I mean, who wants to give up that much? No, you're right. You're. This is factual. 100%. And that's the thing. The Saints are putting themselves out to fail. Like, literally, they're putting themselves out to fail with the idea of 2 first-round picks. You're right. And the Saints fans that are coming in here and saying, oh, give up your third overall. You're drunk off your mind if you think the Arizona Cardinals are getting rid of the 3rd overall pick. You're drunk off your mind. Drunk off your mind if you think that's the case. I think Dan Quinn has a really good shot. This is his 2nd interview, ladies and gentlemen, and I know a lot of people don't want it, but he might be a real possibility. His 2nd interview. Right now, we got 59 votes in the poll. Keep voting, everybody. But right now, we have Sean Payton a clear winner with 53%. Dan Quinn at 20%, 15% with Brian Flores, and 12% with other. This, to me, these 3, it seems to me that's a real possibility. Dan Quinn might be a possibility here, whether you want to believe it or not. His 2nd interview is coming today. And I know if this were to happen, we're going to hear people saying, well, Dan Quinn, blew that Super Bowl. I mean, you might be right? But Kyle Shanahan was also the guy that let the foot off the gas pedal because he was the offensive coordinator. He should have ran that ball, bleed that clock out. That's what they should have done. They didn't take that approach. And obviously Dan Quinn, being a defensive minded coach, the offense was out of its power. Now the defense gave up a lot of points to Brady, and we all know what happened there. But the Saints are losing everything that they possibly could have had. Truly. We're getting some more Brian Flores people coming in here right now. Brian Flores 19%, Dan Quinn 19%, and then 53% still for Sean Payton. It's leaps and bounds right now. Sean Payton is a clear winner for Arizona Cardinal fans right now. Like, that's who they want. So think about it, right? Think about it. Cardinal fans out here right now, if we don't get Sean Payton, we got 50% or a little over 50% saying they want Sean. And if they don't get him, it's going to be a clear L for them. To me, I just say let's do this, right? Let's see who gets picked up for the Arizona Cardinals next head coaching position. Let's see how it goes, right? Let's see how it goes. I mean, that's the best thing that we can do, at least at this very moment. It's the best thing that we can do at this very moment. Let's see here. Let's leave this poll question for the next 10 minutes. Let's do that. We'll do another 5 minutes to see where it lands, but I don't think anything's going to change. Honestly, I honestly don't think anything's going to change in this poll question, but we'll keep it open. Would you do a first round for next year? If they're looking for a first round pick, like if the Saints are doing a first round pick, it would have to be next year. It would have to be, because there's no way we're giving up our third overall. No way. If they want a first round pick, but that's the thing. If you want a first round pick, you're only getting a first round pick and maybe mid round picks. If it's a Sean Payton and the Cardinals truly wanted him, if I was Monty Ossenfort, I would strongly consider it. I would. Not the third overall, but I'm not talking about 2023. I'm talking about 2024. Maybe, right? It depends, right? There's a lot of factors to kind of come into this whole situation. If you truly want Sean Payton, and that's what the Saints want, I'm not giving up 2 first rounders. That's for darn sure, though. That's for darn sure. Maybe a second round, that would be cool. But we might have to play chicken here. We might have to play chicken with the Saints. Quinn is getting a second interview because of a video chat interview. Oh, yeah. Well, we know that. For sure. It's a virtual. Yeah, it was a virtual interview that he ended up having. I believe, was it Thursday or Friday of this last week? Yeah, well, we know that. But I mean, he must have done something good, right? To bring him in, to fly him in. I mean, that's a pretty good W on its own, at least if you're asking me. Yes, it was virtual, but hey, if you're flying him in for a second interview, that's a clear W in my mind. That's a clear W in my mind. Now, is it leaning towards Quinn? Maybe not, right? Maybe we'll have to kind of wait and see. But I mean, it's kind of known across the league that Dan Quinn is also a favorite, or at least a top candidate for the Broncos and the Colts. So it's not just the Cardinals. It seems like there's more organizations that are really kind of buying into the Kool-Aid of Dan Quinn, right? And maybe the Cardinals are too. Let's see here. Is Vance going to be on the staff? That's a great question, AJ. That's a great question. I don't know if he's going to be on the staff, truly. Right now, he is on the staff. But if we bring in another head coach, and if they want to bring in certain people, we've seen that occasion too, where yes, Vance Joseph technically is on. I think he got an extension too, not as long of an extension as Keim and Cliff, but he actually came out and said he got an extension as well. So maybe, right? Maybe he might leave as well when we do get a next head coach in. So we'll see. Fly Quinn in, take him to Applebee's and get him a good steak and talk business. Steak at Applebee's. That's Arizona Cardinals in a nutshell right there, right? Applebee's. Take your next head coach to Applebee's. Gotta love it. Or actually, honestly, I think right now they're going through an unlimited chicken strips and shrimp day right now. So unlimited chicken strips, Dan Quinn, maybe that could be something he's intrigued with, right? Chicken strips for days per Applebee's right now. Or they're not sponsoring this video, but yeah, I heard that they're doing an unlimited right now in what they got going on. So take Dan Quinn to Applebee's. Clear winner right there for sure. That's funny. Let's see here. Will Anderson is a beast. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So he said, we'll take Micah and Quinn. Micah Parsons, I'm assuming you're talking about. Colin says Colin's saying Sean's good chance to pass on the Denver job. I honestly think he'll end up in AZ and Saints will realize they won't. Dude, that would be dream made in heaven. That would be the dream made in heaven. That would be the dream, honestly. But we'll see, right? I think there's kind of a lot of up in the air right now. There is a lot of up in the air. And although a lot of people want to seem to believe that this is what they think the Arizona Cardinals are going to do, I think we're going to be very surprised. Like, truly, I think once we make this decision, everybody's going to be surprised. Did anybody have Monty Osenfort to be the clear favorite to be the GM? Anybody? But let me know in the chat. I didn't have Monty Osenfort clear, person that's going to be the next GM for the Arizona Cardinals. I didn't think that. Like, truly, I didn't think that. So, like, I think when we do know, it might be very shocking, or it might be, oh, Sean Payton, cool, let's go. We'll see, though, right? We'll see. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, we got so much like Sean Payton hate, like, on the chat. I know where you guys are coming from, right? But do you guys know what Sean Payton's record is as the Saints head coach? Do you guys know what his record was? Sean Payton's record as the coach of 122 to 162 and 1. He's a winning coach, y'all. Like, I know the scandal is a big talking point a lot of people want to throw out there. And maybe that might be a kind of a defense mechanism, right? For a lot of people saying, hey, if we don't get Sean Payton, it's okay, right? It's not a big deal because he was involved in a scandal, right? There was a movie made about him, right? A lot of people kind of want to lean towards that. But like, y'all, he's a winning head coach, whether you want to shake it or not. Yes, he had Drew Brees. I'm aware of that. But he was 222, 162 and 1. He's won 122 games as a head coach of the of the Saints. So please don't let it like sway you. Yes, there was a big scandal that happened, right? But he's a winning coach. He is a winning coach. That Super Bowl, was it shady? Maybe, right? We don't know. Maybe we do. But like, he's a winning coach, y'all. Like, the Saints were the Saints because of Sean Payton and Drew Brees. It's what it is. It's the truth. It's the truth. He's a winning head coach. Just don't let it sway you, right? I mean, if you don't want him, cool, that's fine. But he's a winning coach. I do got a contribution coming in here from AZ. What's up, AZ, man? I swear, brother. Appreciate the contribution. He says this: if we bring in Payton, would you like Vic Fangio as our DC? If hire Quinn, would be the OC for him. If we hire Quinn, who would be the OC for him? Well, so if we hire Payton, would you want Vic Fangio to be our DC? If we hire Quinn, who would be the OC for him? Okay, I see what you're saying. So regardless of who we bring in, and I said this a little earlier in the stream, if we bring in an offensive-minded coach or a defensive-minded coach, I still want to get an offensive coordinator or a defensive coordinator still. Now, I know Vic Fangio doesn't impress a lot of people, right? If we bring Sean Payton in, but like, the Arizona Cardinals are truly, I know the big stigma out there is that Sean Payton wants the power, right? He wants to be able to make his decisions, right? I know that stigma's out there. But the Arizona Cardinals making the move and getting Monty Osenfort over first getting a Sean Payton is clear that the Arizona Cardinals are going to do what we do, right? So I don't think it's a shoo-in for Fangio to be the DC. Now, if he does want to bring him in, then okay, right? I'm sorry, Vance, you got to go. But if Quinn becomes the OC, if Quinn becomes the head coach, who's going to be OC? I mean, that's a great question, right? Like, we don't know what relationships these coaches have. Like, that's the big deal, right? We can tell you who we want as fans, but if you truly think about it, if you come into a job, who do you guys want, right? You guys want people that you know, right? You guys want people that you know, that you trust, that you've had working relationships with before. We don't really know. Now, there's speculations that if Demeco Ryans does get a head coaching job, who his offensive coordinator is going to be is Anthony Lynn, right? Like, that's what was rumored out there. Now, in terms of Quinn, who's going to be his OC, I mean, that's a good question. I don't know. I would hope that he knows, right? I would hope that he knows. And I think that's a very important question for Monty Osenfor as well as Michael Bidwell to ask, like, because you got to ask yourself, like, it's still important, regardless of who we bring in, that they know that we still need a defensive coordinator or offensive coordinator if they don't want to stay with Vance. So, okay, we finally hit 100 votes in 15 minutes in. We finally hit 100 votes in 15 minutes in. So Sean Payton, a clear winner with 51%. And I mean a clear winner. We have other at 13%, Brian Flores at 18%, and 17% with Dan Quinn. So that question to you guys was, who do you guys want as the next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals? So clear winner for Sean Payton there, ladies and gentlemen. Let's end the poll right there. And honestly, it's what it is, right? We knew it. As Cardinal fans, we knew it. Anything besides Sean Payton, because of the big hype, and I'm not saying from like the Arizona Cardinals, the hype came from the media and the hype came from Cardinal fans, right? We psyched ourselves to believe that we could possibly get Sean Payton, and we probably can still get Sean Payton, right? We still can get Sean Payton. But we psyched ourselves up so much that if we don't get it, there might be some people that, I don't know, are not completely bought in until we start winning in the 2023 season. So we'll see. Oh, no. Yeah. Byron Leftwich, no. No on Byron Leftwich, ladies and gentlemen. No disrespect to Byron Leftwich, but no. No, that's going to be a no for me, dog. For sure. No for me, dog, for sure. Here we go. Another contribution coming in here. What's up, brother? Appreciate the contribution. Is it Demirius? Ibanez, what's up, man? Thank you so very much. He says, I have a feeling the Cardinals will use Dan Quinn for leverage when they interview Sean Payton. By the way, I'm a female. I know my name. Oh, snap. Well, I apologize. I completely apologize about that. Is it Damaris? Is that what it is? Damaris? Please correct me in the chat. And I'm so sorry about that. I'm so sorry about that. That's the worst part, right? That's the worst part about these streams. Thank you so very much for the contribution, by the way. I have a feeling the Cardinals will use Dan Quinn for leverage. And when they interview Sean Payton, by the way, I'm a female. I know my name sucks. Okay, no, that's not your fault. That's my fault. My bad. I'm assuming it's Damaris, right? Damaris, hopefully. Okay. Well, let's see, right? If Dan Quinn can be a real possibility, hey. If he can be a real possibility, maybe we can use him as leverage for getting Sean Payton. Damaris. Yes. Okay. I'm right. Well, Damaris. Hopefully. Okay. So cool. Appreciate the contribution. Thank you so very much. I'm going to keep you on here just because I felt like I insulted you. I'm going to keep you up in here right now. I think this can be, this is very smart, right? Definitely using him as leverage for Sean Payton for sure. Let's see here. I think McCarthy is someone to be a shocker. I don't know. I don't know if McCarthy's going to get fired. Now, I did see something on Twitter saying that like there might be another opening, right? They just want to get their ducks in a row. Maybe the Cowboys might make a move, right? We don't know. We don't know. It's pissed up. Well, honestly, if Jerry Jones was your boss, right? The Cowboys didn't do so good at all. The Cowboys did not do so good, especially against Brock Purdy. But Brock Purdy's been impressing a lot of people. Like that's not on Brock Purdy. He's just being very, very good and taking advantage of his opportunities. Here we go. We got somebody in the chat saying AZ cannot win no matter who coaches. Team has to be rebuilt. Start with offensive and defensive line. QB is questionable too. Kyler Murray won't rehab quickly. He's guaranteed money to not play. Please, McCoy, retire. Well, okay. Well, let me ask you guys. We got 162 people in the chat. Let me ask you guys in the chat. Is Kyler Murray quarterback one? Oh, okay. Thank you, Damaris. Appreciate you. Okay, so Kyler Murray. Is he the quarterback of the future? That's the question to you guys. Quarterback of the future, yes or no in the chat. I just want to see yes or no's in the chat. Yes or no? Is Kyler Murray the future of the Arizona Cardinals? Yes or no? In the chat. Got 2 yeses so far. We got to know. We have no other options, so yes. Okay. Yes, most definitely. Yes. Yes, 100%. Right. Okay. Okay, we're seeing a lot more yeses. We're seeing a lot more yeses. Okay. Without an O-line, we may never know. That's fair. $230 million. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. I'm seeing a lot of yeses. I'm with the yes group as well. I'm with the yes group as well. And I get it. A lot of Cardinal fans out there are always looking to me and being like, hey, you never say anything bad about Kyler. You never say anything bad about Kyler. I feel like I do say things bad about Kyler Murray. I do. But we're better with Kyler than we are without Kyler. Like, it's factual. We're better with Kyler than we are without. I don't think there's no way in heck the Arizona Cardinals are going to go quarterback this draft in the first round. There was something on Google saying the Arizona Cardinals are going to go Will Levis in the draft. Like, I'm like, nah, stop creating some sort of type of controversy. It's not going to happen. The Arizona Cardinals has Kyler Murray under contract, and we're going to keep him there, right? Now, the biggest thing on Kyler Murray is that he gets hurt a lot. Kyler Murray gets hurt a lot. He's been injured every single year. Now, I don't think he's missed a game every single year, but he's been injured every single year, and it's hurt and affected his play heading into the playoffs, right? The long stretch before the playoffs. So that is concerning. It is. It's very concerning. Oh, absolutely. It's concerning that Kyler Murray can't stay healthy. But it's also concerning that the Arizona Cardinals haven't been able to build an offensive line, right? Because we knew darn well, or at least I knew darn well, the moment we try to band-aid another offensive line together, right, with Will Hernandez, right? Justin Pugh when he lost a lot of weight. Now, he was doing really good until he got hurt, right? DJ Humphries got hurt. Rodney Hudson needs to go. Like, Rodney Hudson needs to get fired or let go, retire, whatever the heck he was. As long as he's not on the Arizona Cardinals, like, that's what we want for Rodney Hudson, because it's truly concerning that this man played 1 or 2, 3 games this last year, and it seemed like he was just on a vacation the rest of the time. Our offensive line has been bad. Kelvin Beachum was really the only person that we could have depend on this last year. So, and that's not an excuse, right? Or I mean, the main excuse. Kyler Murray did play bad in occasions, but honestly, I think that's a very, very good talking point, because our offensive line has been bad for years. It's always been band-aid. It's never been fixed. If the Cardinals do decide to trade back and accumulate more picks this next draft, I hope one of those picks is an offensive lineman, right? Maybe what we can start doing is, if Kelvin Beachum is no longer our right tackle of the future, we can possibly be moving DJ Humphries to the right tackle and then get another young left tackle, get a center, and then we can worry about the guards later on, right? Maybe we can bring somebody in free agency, but I do think that the number one important thing is to build our trenches up. It is. Get some young talent in here. The last person we picked in the draft was DJ Humphries in 2015. Was it 2015? I think it was 2015. DJ Humphries was the last offensive lineman we picked up in the first round. Like, that's bad. We got to continue to build that line with young talent. DJ Humphries has been hurt multiple years before he got paid. Now, there was a section or time, like a year or two, where he was doing really well, but then he kind of like, okay, he's all right. Like, he's fine. He's serviceable. But Rodney Hudson's got to go, man. Like, he's been a very, very big disappointment. Very, very big disappointment. Very, very big disappointment for Arizona Cardinals. And I mean, like, throughout his tenure here. It sucks that, like, some of these players, like, they're known as Iron Man, right? When they come to the Arizona Cardinals, they start falling apart and they start missing games. Rodney Hudson was one of those players. Believe it or not, DeAndre Hopkins, I don't think missed any games until he came to the Arizona Cardinals. Now, that's not his fault, right? But, like, it sucks. Like, we need to be building from the draft. Like, that's number one key point in blank. We need to build from the draft. We need to get our own talent. We got to stop poaching talent from other teams and expect them to change the culture, change the future of this organization. We need to be able to build it ourselves and get those young pieces from other teams that can be, a change, but not the number one change is what I'm trying to go after. Sign Keim for center. Sheesh. I know Keim's got his own thing he needs to do. Man, Keim needs to figure out a lot of his own personal situations right now. But yeah, it's a lot right now, y'all. It's a lot. So Dan Quinn is set to meet with the Arizona Cardinals later today. And yes, the first interview he did have was due to a being this first interview was a virtual interview. This is true. This is true. But I think that if his virtual interview was that impressive, being that the Arizona Cardinals are going to fly him in here today, that's pretty interesting. That's pretty interesting, at least in my mind. So Dan Quinn, a possibility. I know Brian Flores was very, very sold to you guys, pretty recently. I think he could be a possibility as well. And then I think Sean Payton is still up in the air as well. It's like AZ's for retirement, all those snowbirds. Yeah, y'all facts. Oh, absolutely. And that's the truth, though. Like, that's not even just NFL. Like, everybody comes here. Like, everybody comes to Phoenix. It's a snowbird state. You're 100%. We have so many transplants here. I think my neighbors, right, where I live, my neighbors, I think let's even talk about the 4 people or 5 people that live around me. They probably have different NFL teams. It's the truth. It sucks, but it's the truth. This is a snowbird state. It's true. A lot of transplants. A lot of transplants. Let's see here. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Monty should consider trading Humphries this offseason and let Jones be a starting left tackle. Well, we got a lot of decisions to be made this offseason. A lot. So I'm glad that JJ Watt decided to retire, because I know that was going to be one of the biggest questions, right? One of the biggest questions for Cardinal fans. Oh, he needs to come back. He's still producing. And I do agree with that to an extent, but like JJ Watt, I'm so glad he decided to ride off into the sunset. I'm so glad. I hope nothing for the best for him in his retirement, spending time with his family. Everything's going to be great for him, hopefully, right? Fingers crossed. So I'm glad. It gives us one less opportunity to be like, hey, should we bring him back or should we not bring him back? Because yes, JJ Watt was healthy this year, but like he hasn't been healthy at all. Like, so let's see here. Jalen Carter concerns me because of the bust potential and lack production in college. Will Anderson strikes me as a sure thing. Okay. Well, I mean, I think Jalen Carter had a really good year, right? Didn't Jalen Carter have a really good year in terms of like? Let's see here. I think Jalen Carter had a really good year. I guess maybe not that big of a year. I thought he had a better year than this. What the heck? Jalen Carter, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. Why did I think it was more than this? Well, I mean, if you think about it, right, it's going to be the Nick Bosa and the Quentin Williams situation when we're getting Kyler Murray. Remember that? So, I mean, there's a real possibility that Jalen Carter might go number 1 to the Chicago Bears, as long as they don't trade it out, right? I don't mind Will Anderson. I don't mind him at all. I know a lot of people want Jalen Carter, but Will Anderson is a very, very intriguing. 10 sacks, 1 interception, 24 solo tackles, 6'4", 243 pounds. So definitely, we'll see though. I miss Christian Kirk. I prefer Will Anderson and re-sign Zach Gallen. Somebody says Will Anderson over Carter any day. Okay. Love it. Yeah, well, I mean, we got a lot of time, right? We got a lot of time for the draft here. We got free agency to kind of, come through. So I'm excited about that. Like truly excited about it. Now, this is your first time here. I think so. We're on the road to 12K, ladies, and we just hit 11,100. Appreciate you guys for subscribing, by the way. If this is your first time here and you like the conversation that we're having here today, we continue to have this, right? As a fan base, as a group. So definitely subscribe over to the Arizona Sports Fan here on YouTube. Subscribe it up. Also, smack the like button on this video as well. So this is your first time here. If you do subscribe, you're able to communicate for free with other Cardinal fans here in the chat once we go live. So definitely go ahead and subscribe and join the family. So just to recap, ladies and gentlemen, Demeco Ryans canceled our interview over the weekend. Right now, TBD if we're going to reschedule that. Sean Payton is going to be scheduled to meet with us this coming Thursday, so in 2 days, and then Dan Quinn is coming for a second interview because his first one was virtual, but he's being flown into Arizona to do a second interview with the Arizona Cardinals. So we got obviously some news to talk about, and we talked a lot today, right, pertaining to who the next head coach or who you want the next head coach to be for the Arizona Cardinals. Thank you so very much for all the channel members that were in here today. Thank you so very much for all the subscribers. Thank you so very much for all the people that were sending super chats in here. Thank you so very much, everybody. I thank you so very much. Have a great rest of the day. We will be closing shop right here. Make sure you have your post notification bell on, subscribe, smack the like button, do all those stuff that YouTubers ask you to do. Thank you guys for rocking with me. As always, have a great rest of your day and go Cards.